Hello, everyone. My name is El-Kosheiry. Probably, as you can see my name here. Um, I decided to make this video and give my own take on the issues in the game of League of Legends and how it can be improved. I decided that I can potentially start a number of videos. This is video number 1, and I will be addressing autofilled and surrendering. So let's start with the obvious. Who am I? I mean, I'm very confident that no one has ever heard of me. So I kind of created a small CV. So to start with, I could not find the email that I received when I first created my account, but I was able to find the email where I did my first purchase of RP. And as you can see, this was back in 2012. I created my account in February 2012. Well, the first time I purchased RP was in December, but you get the idea. It is still in 2012, which gives me over a decade of experience with League of Legends, and I saw how things changed over time. And this is actually very relevant in this video. Another question you guys might be wondering, so you've been playing for a long time. How come you've never created content? Actually, I did create content, but it was mostly written content. So back then, I created, these were two big posts in the League of Legends forums, but Riot deleted those. So these websites don't exist anymore. And I actually play a lot of Legends of Runeterra. So I've created these three, these are like the important ones. These three Reddit posts where I discuss Legends of Runeterra. However, this is not impressive, and I'm not claiming that this is impressive by any means. The next part is what would make you be interested in my take, which is my career. So technically, my official title is a technical writer. I work in the software industry. I've been working, this is my 7th year. And as you can see, you know, people are, my previous company, which is Zeta, is actually giving me a trophy. And that was because of a competition for feature research and development. So there was a competition, a hackathon, and we would go research and present ideas for potential features. I did not win the competition. I went to the final and I got beaten in the final. And they still think that my work was so good that they ended up giving me an award. So yes, my title is a technical writer, but I'm actually been in the process of transitioning into being a product owner who does research and development to improve and add features to existing software. Now, I don't work in games. Zeta is not a gaming company. I never worked in a gaming company, but games are software. And this is where, you know, my expertise can come in handy. More on that in a second, but basically this is where I see myself at least eligible to add something that might potentially be of value. So here's some context. Why now? What happened now? So if you guys are not aware, Riot released this video where they are basically apologizing, saying that they messed up and their communication has been very bad. And as you can see, I'm actually giving a screenshot of Necrit's video. He's an excellent YouTube creator, like content creator. And the reason is I'm telling you to watch Necrit's video, not the original video, because it covers the whole story. When they published this video, people started replying and they reply back, but this was on Reddit and some of the things were on Twitter. So Necrit's video is actually goes through everything. It shows you all the development that happens. And the key part is they admitting that they haven't been listening to the community, and now they will do a lot more effort and they will put a lot more, they'll do a better job listening to people. And this is important because I do believe that all my attempts to voice my opinion were in vain. Not just that. A few days ago, an issue with Styler 1 happened, and another YouTube channel, someone called Rival, as you guys can see, has been covering this. He talked about the issue of Styler 1. I don't really care about the problem that caused all of this, but what I do care about is Styler 1 created a list. He talked about a bunch of problems, and then Riot fulfilled its promise to communicate better. As you can see, there is another video where Riot responds to Tyler 1. And this is Riot's response. Now, whether or not you think this response is good, this is not the point here. The point is that Riot is actually, fulfilling their promise of communicating better. So I said, okay, I'm going to give feedback. I'm going to put effort again and start delivering some feedback. However, I will not deliver feedback like this. I don't think that this is productive or even grammatically correct. Anyway, a while back, and you can actually look at the date. It's here. In Legends of Runeterra, Dan Felder, who is a game designer on Legends of Runeterra, created a Reddit post, and they turned it into this really, really, really beautiful article about how you can give feedback to game developers. And I'll try to stick to this. Plus, I literally boss developers around. Like in my full-time job, I assign tasks to developers, I give them feedback, and I evaluate, stuff. So I'm well experienced in dealing with developers. I do that on a daily basis. But for those of you, I believe that this is a very good article by Riot, and it is very positive, and I'll try to follow it. I did follow it in my Reddit posts, and I'll try to follow it here as well. So here we go. So now this is me talking now. I believe the issue is, or the core of the issue is, Riot's philosophy or implementation of philosophy changed from positive reinforcement into negative reinforcement. That's it. I believe that most of the things that even Tyler talks about here are related to this. And this is the only point I'm going to talk about. Like, this is the heart and soul of the video, of this video. Positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. How Riot's game, League of Legends, over time moved away from positive reinforcement and started going into loops of negative reinforcement. And that's it. You can leave the video. This is literally the message. Everything from now on is me elaborating on this point or referring back to this point. So let's begin where it begins. And we start with, these are the examples. I think I should have deleted the slide. And we begin with, so now I'll be addressing, what happened in the past. How did things move from where they were to how we are here? As you can see, this is the old client. This is not my screenshot. I took this from Google, and I saw that this belongs to Surrender 20. And I believe the owner is Mubeat. He's an amazing guy. It's an amazing website. I've been using it ever since I played the game. It's awesome. So this is the old client. For those of you who don't know, we only had 3 bans on each team, and the first person on the team was considered the captain. He would pick all 3 bans, and he would usually pick the first pick. Also, as you can see, we don't say you know, we don't assign roles. We just click that we want to get into a queue, then we are thrown into this lobby that you guys see. And since there were no means to preemptively choose your role, we were given the chat. I might make myself smaller to make things more visible. So we had this, chat. And okay. And here is where we negotiated who should go where. Not only that, what type of champion as well. So we discussed here who would go. As you can see, they're saying go top, go Amumu, go mid, and I'll jungle. And people were like saying to each other, thank you, as you can see, thank you, sir, and whatnot. Even they can share things like, oh, I haven't played this champion or this role in a month or whatever. Also, people would say who should go tank and who should be, do we have enough ratio of AP and AD and things like that. And this was positive communication. Also, lo and behold, back then, when the game ends, there was a report for not or refusing to communicate with team. And here, the issue here was something called, and you can look it up, pick order versus call order, because people would say top, mid, they would yell it in chat. And they say, oh, I go top because I said top first. And that was the issue back then. And some people were frustrated because people would fail to communicate, and some people would just ignore what was being said and they would pick anything they wanted, etc., etc. And yes, this system was flawed. However, we believed that we had some say in the matter. We were not totally empowered, but we were not totally disempowered. If we were able to be nice and communicate well, usually, for the most part, we will have a good experience in the champion select. Also, this is where people deciding to honor people happens. Because if you ask someone who is picking before you that can you please let me jungle, for example, and even though you have the power, your first pick, and you tell them, okay, sure, I'll let you jungle, I'll fill for you, this was usually enough of a reason for this person to honor that person. And at this point of time, the honor system was actually useful and it made sense. And again, so the honor system which is a positive reinforcement, was good, doing something. Secondly, communication and using the chat, you had positive scenarios. You can talk some strategy about who goes where and what type of build they would go. The issues were people who didn't speak the language, or they would insta-lock, or they would just not communicate. And you know what? Sometimes this would lead to queue dodging. Or, you deciding to autofill. And this is a very important point here, because dodging and autofilling didn't just happen and it's a surprise to you. You can see the vibe of the conversation, and you are actually part of the conversation. You can try to calm if there is an argument, and maybe you can put your input for people to agree on something. Or you guys, or all five of us would, come to the conclusion, and it is an unanimous decision that no one plays AD carry, for example, and someone should dodge. And this is a big part, because at this point, dodging was not just realities on the ground. It's a decision that people come to. So these are the points that I want to highlight here. In this system, in this screen that we have, positive communication was a thing. People would actually get reported for refusing to communicate. You had some agency to go to a preferred lane, and you had some agency over whether or not this game is or should be dodged or not. And these are a lot of things that down the line, we lost all of them. Again, why did this system change? Because it relied on people talking to each other, and there was a lack of consistency, and people complained. And again, if you want to look for a particular keyword, it was pick order versus call order. Or yeah, it was pick order versus call order. So Riot created this system where you get to put the role that you want to play. So I can go back down again. And back then, everybody thought that this was amazing. Maybe I'm too small now. Everybody thought that this was amazing. And yeah, myself included, because I thought, okay, our problems are solved. But little did we know, and as time told us, that bigger problems were emerging. Mostly this problem, which is queue time. Now, I don't know much about this. This is the name of the YouTube video. This is the guy's channel. I was just looking for long queue time. This popped up. I thought it's funny. I took a screenshot of it. I hope I don't violate copyrights. I hope this guy is not angry at me. I took this screenshot from his video because it looked funny. That's it. Like 3,220 minutes he has been in queue. I really don't know. But this is to highlight the issue that now, back then, remember, we didn't have queue time issues. Only people at the very top who were challenger at the time had queue time issues. Like 99 of players, or maybe let's say 95 or 90%, they didn't even know that this problem existed. And again, there was nothing called autofill, or at least not the same version that we know of today. Moving forward, so Riot moved from this system to this system. Then this problem started happening. Now, back in the day, people would talk and they would share that I don't want to play support or jungle or AD carry. And people will talk. But now, there's a big thing that happened here. Back then, if someone didn't play AD carry, it is our problem. Now it's different. It is just someone's problem. Because the solution is to this problem is now this feature, which is you've been autofilled. And things went really downhill from here. So now we had this, which was working, by the way. We had some frustration, but it was working. And I want to highlight this. This was working. Then this was introduced. And as a side effect, this was introduced. And when this was introduced, as a side effect, this was introduced, which is autofilled. And when autofilled was introduced, as a side effect, okay, I'll come to this in a second, this was introduced, which is queue dodging. And going back to the two slides that I skipped, once autofill happened, people didn't have an incentive to talk anymore. Because now it's not my problem, this is your problem. Or this is not our problem, this is your problem. So if someone is autofilled and this person talks in the lobby, now he can literally get reported and muted, which is the literal opposite of the old system. So as you can see, a number of systems were introduced where back then, here, if someone refused to talk, he will get reported. But things started changing into a different direction, that once we reach this point, if you actually talk, you get reported. And here's something that happened to me actually recently. I believe it was like at the very, when the first changes in the preseason were introduced or something, or actually, no, at the end of the previous season, I was autofilled. And in chat, I wrote to the people in chat, guys, I'm autofilled, I cannot play AD carry. Can someone take this role and we shift roles? One guy in the chat, he didn't type anything. He reported me for refusing to play the position that was assigned to me. And he copied the message, the notification that comes to him and tells him that, look, yes, your message was recorded, or like, we acknowledge that you reported this person. He copied the text and pasted in chat and sent it to me, telling me that he reported me. And boy, was I pissed. I really wanted to get into the game and just troll and make this guy lose intentionally. But I believe I was able to keep my cool, and I just dodged. But this feeds again. And of course, now honor by this point is irrelevant because no one is doing anyone any favors anymore. Why would I honor anyone? Now, then we now have Riot now is talking about these big issues about, oh, tackling Q dodging. And now matchmaking and autofill, which to me, it's a joke that they are putting the word autofill and fair matches in the same article. The way autofill is implemented right now throws fair matches out of the window, where you pick someone that can potentially not own any champions in this particular position, and you force them to play into this position. And if they ask that someone would come and take this position, they will literally get reported and they get trash talked. And when they dodge, you punish them again. By the way, Riot did this, and this is the negative reinforcement cycle that I'm talking about. Here, there was a positive reinforcement for positive communication. If you communicate well, you will get the role that you like, and most likely that you're going to win. And you will get an honor. That was a decent positive reinforcement. Now, what we have here is on a psychological level very bad, and I'm going to show you these pictures that I dug up or like found. So now suddenly I can just be thrown under the bus. If I complain, I'll get reported, and if I dodge, I'll get penalized. That does not sound like fun to me. So let's now talk psychology. So I believe that psychology is what matters here. My manager always asked me and taught me, when I talk about a new feature, the first question he always tells me, or one of the very, very first questions is, how does this feature make the client feel? If he feels good, then it's worthwhile to actually look into. If he doesn't feel good, then we might not even, it might not be even worthwhile to look into. And here's how I believe, or how I feel Riot changed in my eyes. Back then, lobbies were like this, where we are a bunch of players and we're just, I'm kind of like, compete, or not necessarily competing, but I'm trying to use some politics to get along with my teammates, and we make things work out. However, sometimes it doesn't. Riot's new system psychologically feels like this. And let me go back small again. Riot decides that someone, or at least someone, because they can actually be more than one autofill, someone will be thrown under the bus, period. Riot decides it at random. And this is now my problem, not our problem. It's now my problem if I'm autofilled. And if I don't like it, I'll get penalized. This feels horrible. This feels like shit. And I will elaborate more on that in a second. Here, this is a presentation on a website called Slide Player. This presentation, I believe, is by someone who's supposed to be from Riot called Matthew Tran. And he talks that Riot's manifesto, the first point was player experience. So player experience first. And it isn't the first point. This is literally the first bullet point. And I just explained to you how this has been thrown in the garbage. And I believe this is why things have been going downhill for a while, is that Riot, I don't believe that this was intentional. I believe that this was unintentional. But for a good number of years now, things that are positive reinforcement, they have been decreasing in number, or they have been getting less impactful, and features that are more negative reinforcement are increasing in number and in power. And this is why everybody's pissed. Now, let's move forward. So now what? This is, oh, so not now what? Before now what? There is this video by Cookie Lol. It's a very short video. I believe it's less than a minute. And it's not really an informative video, but what I do like about it is that it really captures the emotional frustration someone who is a streamer, when he is forced to play positions that he's not good at. And it would significantly harm his performance, which contradicts fair matches. So Riot went into this spiral of, system after system after system, and they've been going against their own manifesto for a while, and I don't think they realize it. And the emotional frustration is actually expressed really well by this guy. I hope he doesn't mind me sharing his video. But yeah, it was really heartfelt how he is genuinely irritated, and how it is not justified. And I believe so. Yeah, it's not justified, and I don't think it's right. So yeah, this is emotional evidence. I'm using him as emotional evidence. Anyway, moving on. I'm very confident that some people would say, okay, so your solution is autofill must go, because this is where things started like positions should go and autofill should go, and we should go back to that. You queue up and in the lobby, we start bashing each other who should play what where. And my answer is actually no. So if I had to choose whether or not autofill should stay or not, my answer would be yes, it should stay. However, this is a big however. So autofill as a concept is good. However, Riot's implementation is the issue. It's atrocious. How it is right now is that Riot picks someone at random and forces something on him and calls it autofill. No. No one, it's like it's not a rule anywhere that this is how autofill works. This is how this is the autofill that Riot implemented, but it's not a law. This is not the only way it can be implemented. Originally, this was not even the problem. The problem is there is an abundance of a resource and a scarcity of another resource. And what you guys, or what is needed, is to transfer some of the abundance, some of the abundant resource into the scarce resource. Basically, you have a lot of people queuing as mid lane, maybe top or AD carry, but mostly mid. And you have a scarcity of people queuing as jungle and support. So you want to incentivize people who play mid, or some of the people who play mid, to go and play other roles. That's it. No one needs to be forced to do anything. I really question the decision that the use of force is needed. I don't know where this came from in the first place. And allow me to show you an example. So my first recommendation is actually change of English. How Riot talks matters. And this is the screen that you get. Again, this is my account. And if you guys have noticed recently, when you log in and you click that you want to play, automatically the system will pick the 2 roles that you picked in your previous game. And more on that in a second, but you have this notification here that says autofill activated, and you hover on it, and this is what it reads. Position shortages can lead to much higher queue times for everybody. You may be assigned a different position to balance out shortages. Maybe it is informative, but here's how I feel. I feel Riot is telling me this. I'm a bully. I preserve the right to throw you under the bus anytime because I say so or because I feel like it. You can choose positions. These are the positions that you can choose to play. But I have the power, and I will use the power to completely disregard what you want, and I will force what I want on you. And I think that this is not just negative reinforcement, by the way, because Riot is not asking me for anything. I consider this cyberbullying, you know. Like this language is bullying. You know, as I said, I'm a technical writer, so I'm a writer. Language is important. And compare this to Riot's other message. Here, instant feedback report. So feedback. Your recent report of a sportsman-like player was verified and a penalty was issued. 1 penalty prevents most players from disturbing any more games. Thanks for the assist. And I'm highlighting thanks for the assist. So Riot here, the tone is so much different. And it is like thanking you. You helped us, you know, the game is better, stuff like that. It's talking about sportsmanlike behavior. How the hell is this anything close to sportsmanlike behavior or sportsmanship? I really don't know. Anyway, this feature, for context, was requested or was implemented when people complained that they report toxic player or toxic behavior, and they don't think that anything happens. This feature, design-wise, could have potentially taken 30 minutes. And this message is static. It's a copy and paste message. Yet, what you see in front of you is arguably the one feature where there is unanimous consent in the League of Legends community is a good feature. I don't think that Riot ever introduced a feature and almost 100% of everybody agrees that this is a good feature. And in my eyes, this is not even a feature. This is a thank you message, which is just English. It's 2 English lines. That's it. And a button that doesn't do anything. It just closes the window. Yet, this in front of us, because it is a positive reinforcement, everybody loved it. So let's build on that. I made this out of thin air. So let's imagine the following, because I discovered that I should have added another slide here. Let's imagine that the first line here, instead of picking the positions from my previous game, you automatically pick the position that you want me to autofill. So it's already selected. So you've preemptively selected the position that you want me to autofill. And it is not at random. You have the data. You know if I can autofill this position or not. Do I play this position or not? So that said, these are the conditions. So the small change, or these are the changes. So you actually, it's not at random. You select me, or you think that I can autofill, and you tell me in advance that this position is autofill, and I want you to autofill, and you give me the choice. And put some English flavor on it. So please, I want you guys to read the following and tell me how you feel. Compare these 2 messages. We've already gone through this. Look, so I made this out of thin air. Let's imagine Riot needs a support. I play Blitzcrank. So a message can be something like, other summoners need your help. Currently, there is a huge shortage of players queuing up as support. Your 61.7% successful grabs with your Blitzcrank are needed. This is data, that is real data, and I will show you in a second the stats on the profile. And successful grabs is something in the Eternals, I'll show you as well. And I play Blitzcrank. Your 61.7% successful grabs with the Blitzcrank are needed and will sure strike fear in your enemies. I believe not just enemies, in the enemy AD carries, and will turn the tides of battle for your team. And more importantly, you can give the choice. Note, you can still queue up with any role that you want, and you can put another small point, but it will take a lot longer, or it will take longer. This is just English, you know? And the part here, I want you to think about, how you feel between these two messages. And this information here is very easily obtainable. Allow me to show you. In Eternals, which are now for free, they have been free for a while, people can actually unlock Eternals, and Riot knows what Eternal you have. It gets announced all over the place. Also, under your profile, you have stats that Riot can actually pull up. Like, some people might not know that there are stats about them, or these detailed stats. And the reason is I picked Tryndamere as a jungle. When I play Tryndamere as a jungle, I try to go for utility, which is shown in my graphs that are completely different from the average graphs. Like, I don't go damage with Tryndamere. I do build damage, but I mostly go utility. I play on objectives. So, and my KDA is bad, fine. Yet, my kill participation is good, which means my ganks are good with a Tryndamere. Also, utility score, again, we're talking about the Tryndamere, is really good. So this is what makes me unique with Tryndamere. And you know what? And here is the graph. Whatever B minus B plus, I don't really care. But in this custom message, you can pull up whatever data from all of these things that you think that I shine. You think this is my strong point. And if numbers are not your thing, or the player's thing, how about showing off? Not too long ago, Riot introduced customized identity in titles and tokens. And I'm showing you, I said early on, I play top. I mostly play top. And now I'm playing, mid and jungle. And therefore, I have top diff. So the 3 tokens I chose are top diff, level 1 Fiasca, and mastery. For context, top diff means that I'm really good top player. Level 1 Fiasca means that I get first blood before 1 minute 30 because I always invade. The third one is mastery because I have over 1 million mastery with Garen. And the title, out of all tokens, I chose these three. And from the title, out of all titles, I chose Bloodthirsty. And for Bloodthirsty means that I go get first blood, which goes hand in hand with level 1 Fiasca. So let's throw away all the numbers and let's look at these just token and title. And let's create a new message. So here, let's say Riot wants me to queue up as a top laner. They can create a custom message as following, telling me, you thirst for blood, and right now you can be offered plenty. I know, let's play with words, why not? And literally, my title is Bloodthirsty. Few summoners are queuing up for the top, and this gives you room to start piling up corpses before 130. Again, referencing the level 1 Fiasca. And teach, so what am I going to teach? The true meaning of top diff. Hey, it's my title. I'm going to teach you the true meaning. It's not just a title. Playing on my ego, or again, playing on my ego, no amount of blood can sate me. Again, I'm getting kills on first bloods. Which, by the way, it's pushing me to build my reputation even more and progress my missions even more with the title and the tokens. And at the end, they can tell me, you can always queue up with any role that you want. And I want you, not linguistically, I want you to emotionally evaluate or compare this message to this message. Now, this is not the end of it. Similar to instant feedback, let's say I go play. What happens if you get autofilled right now? So right now, if you go to a game in League of Legends, you get autofilled and you finish the game, what happens? Literally nothing. This needs to change. So I'm suggesting something along the lines of this. Autofill fulfilled, You answered the call and helped out your fellow summoners. Another page has been added to your book of greatness. People like you are the ones who make our game great. Thanks for the assist. Again, this is literally just English, and it is so much positive reinforcement. If I lose a game, yet I get this message that reminded me that I autofilled and reminded me that Riot actually cares and appreciates that I autofilled, I will feel good. And by the way, this opens the room for many incentives, but I'm not even tackling them. I'm just sticking to the bare minimum. So what I'm suggesting here is autofill to be optional, autofill to be transparent, and the message to be more friendly, and more importantly, tailored and customized. I don't think I'm asking for much. Now, let's take things to a different level. I'm very sure that up till this point, someone will tell me, look, it maybe genuinely no one is online who can play support, or like in queue. So no one in queue is online who can play support. I said, okay, let's take things a step forward. One more step. Here, this is the client. I'm not in queue. I'm away. Let's say I'm reading the patch notes. And I intend to get into a queue 5 or 10 minutes from now. So what I'm saying is my client is open. I am not gaming, but I am about to game. Maybe I'm watching a YouTube video. Maybe I'm reading the patch notes. I mean, something. The important part is I am not in queue. Now, I can get a notification, be it one of these yellow notifications, be it like one of this, blue ones, be it something completely new that gets under the play button. I don't really care. I mean, this is cosmetic. The important part is I get notified somehow on the client, or something pops up when I get awarded with something that I'm needed. Now, I put a lot of time and thought into my previous messages. At this point, I was getting bored. Like I do write, but I do technical writing. I don't like, sugarcoat. I don't sugarcoat. I don't write sugarcoating sentences. So basically, a message would pop up, tell me, look, the balance of Runeterra, like, we need you, please come queue up, basically. And they would tell you that you're awesome, you're amazing, and tell you how good whatever you do is good. We need people like you to come queue for this particular position now. Which is unprecedented. This means that the people who can potentially join the lobby are not necessarily in queue. You can now pull people who are not in queue into queue just by virtue of having their client open. And it doesn't have to be in an invasive way. It can literally be something that glows up with the play button. It can be very subtle. It doesn't have to be very invasive. And we can push that even more. Remember this. Riot did this. It's a mobile app. To the best of my knowledge, it's one of the most useless things Riot ever did. I do have the app. I feel like I don't really have a use for it. How about we create a use for it? So in general, loot boxes were things only available in mobile games, and it got later implemented in PC games. League of Legends is an example, because League implemented loot boxes. Why not implement something else? Why not implement notifications? If you have the Riot mobile app, you can set schedules. Like, I'm not saying that this is going to happen every 5 minutes, but you can set windows for your schedule where you will accept autofill invitations. So when you open your phone, so you have the phone, you will get a notification similar to this. Like here, this is Candy Crush, that now you have full of life, step here and play. You can say, brave top laner, plenty of minions to kill, many champions to slay, we need you. Whatever the terminology would be. But this is unprecedented because now Riot will have reach to people that are literally outside. They're not even on the computer. Like, now you will reach people who are not in queue, and here you will reach people who are not even on the computer. And the beautiful part about all of this is that it's not being forced on anybody. I genuinely believe this is, in terms of queuing and autofilling, this is a direction in a positive direction, and it would take away a lot from the negative reinforcement back into the positive reinforcement. I'm not done with the video. Next, we will talk about surrendering. Simply put, when Riot talks about surrendering, they talk about this. And this is wrong. Surrendering is not a vote. It is not a timing of a vote. Surrendering is a feeling. It's a psychological decision. Right now, a loss is a loss. And I will elaborate on this. A loss is a loss. If you lose, you lose. Nothing else matters. This is wrong. Because there is so much positive reward that is a lost potential. Riot doesn't want people to surrender early because they want people to come back. Their solution? We will make it impossible for people to surrender early, and if you leave the game or go AFK, you will get banned. I cannot think or imagine a bigger example of negative reinforcement and bullying. Like, we think that players should not surrender early, so we will remove the option from them to surrender early. And if they turn off the game, we will ban them. What? No, this doesn't work like that. If I'm stuck for 20 minutes waiting, if whatever, in 10 minutes we were 0-10 and I psychologically gave up, these 10 minutes, from 10 minutes to 20 minutes, I'm just waiting for the surrender to happen. I'm not even playing the game, which is the equivalent of quiet quitting. I'm just moving around the map so I don't get punished. I'm not playing. I'm avoiding punishment. And this is a very, very big point. There is a difference between playing the game or playing to win and playing to avoid punishment. And or at least I believe so, or psychologically, I believe this is the case. And it seems like Riot doesn't understand that. I think that for the first 3 minutes, this is the window where people can remake. And starting 5 minutes, people can surrender. Not just that. If you have 3 people vote yes and 2 vote no, the surrender will happen. And that's it. The game is over. The team surrenders and the other team wins. Because right now, Riot is holding players hostage. So people are going to tell me where everybody's now going to surrender, the game is not going to be fun. Well, I'm not done talking yet. I'm telling you, remove the negative reinforcement or the bullying, which is a high surrender timer. Just completely remove it. Because most of the chat or most of the talking that happens in chat is people referring to the surrender time. We want to win, you don't think about the surrender timer. You think about other metrics. And this is what I'm going to talk about now. People who are going to do a comeback are people who want to play the game. And people like this. I'm very sure that everybody has at least seen, experienced, or was, in a situation where you have this one person who completely dominated the whole game and lost at the end. And here's another example. So with the numbers. So here, a Samira that did way more damage than everyone else, with the exception of Kassadin. So obviously, Samira and Kassadin were very overperforming, while, Malzahar was significantly underperforming. Pike was pretty much AFK. Katarina was pretty much AFK. If Samira saw that the early game was losing and they can't win, right now a loss is a loss. Why should I put effort if it is obvious to me that I have nothing to gain? And this is what I'm highlighting. From fairness, so now we're talking about fairness and positive reinforcement. I believe that playing well should be rewarded somehow. Right now, there is something called loss mitigation. It only happens if a player goes AFK. That's it. That's the one and only way it can happen. And the only thing that can reward you for playing well is giving you a chest for the loot box. And you can get this, you can get 1 chest per 1 champion per season. Yeah, that you're not gonna climb with that motive. So what am I suggesting here? With Yasuo and Samira, obviously, they are better than the people at the team in front of them. It's very obvious. Even though they lost, they, I believe, should have a loss mitigation in terms of LP. And I'm not saying it would be a big number. Maybe they would lose 2 or 3 less LP. But here's the important part, and I believe people will agree with me. maybe they wouldn't lose MMR. Because obviously they are better than the people in this rank. Like, if anything, if I would look to Samira, I would say, even though she lost, I would give her MMR. You know, like, yeah, she would lose LP, but she will actually gain MMR. Now, I know this is too much, this is illogical. But what I'm saying is, right now, if people don't think that they will win, then this game is not worth playing. This is the mentality of everybody. And not feeling that they can surrender, it feels like negative reinforcement. It feels that I'm being held hostage. And that's it. I mean, nothing good is going to come out of it. It's all or nothing. It's win or lose. There's no in between. And we need to create this in between. And I'm telling you, so let's go to these two examples. For example, Maokai did extremely well damage-wise compared to Katarina. For a Maokai, yeah, he's doing pretty well. This is a good motive or something, We need to motivate people. I don't know, maybe this Nunu was full tank. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, people or players, by people I mean the players, should look for something in the game than just, is it a waste of time or not? Is it a win or a loss? No. There are other things that you can do. Maybe, okay. Is it totally lost? Because, okay, I might lose LP, but if I don't surrender, I might lose less LP because I would have an opportunity to shine. I will have opportunity, to show that I'm a good player. I will do my best. And maybe, you know what? I'm not going to lose MMR. And this conversation, if it's taken to chat, this completely flips the current scenarios, which is it's lost anyway. There's nothing we can do. It's only 3 minutes. Don't press no, because if you press no, we wait another 6 minutes or something. No. The conversation is going to be like, what can we do to trigger loss prevention? What can we do to maybe potentially, and I'm not saying what can we do to win the game. What I'm saying is, what can we do to show that we deserve to lose less LP? And I'm confident that this is a conversation someone like Kassadin and Samira would have. And you know what? If I were the Chen and I'm seeing the Kassadin and Samira, they're planning how they're not going to surrender, how they are, they want to carry the game. Hell, I'm the playmaker, I'll definitely go and help the Samir. Like, obviously the Pike was the support, but I mean, Chen did so much more damage. And this is going to build a psychological snowballing effect. Because instead of we are writing why we should surrender now, why waste 5 more minutes, it's now the time is completely okay. Time is irrelevant now. It is, what can we do to trigger the loss prevention system and lose less LP? This is basically they're saying is, how can we play well? This is literally what is happening. Right now, I never hear this argument. I never hear, how can we play well? It doesn't happen. And again, this goes back to positive and negative reinforcement. I believe that, oh, by the way, for context, before I close, these games, the blue team actually won. I know I used them as an example as they lost because I couldn't find good examples. So I kind of like cropped the part that said that they won and I showed that they lost. I know they won, but you know, it was like imagine with me scenario. Sorry, guys. But going back to my point, I believe that a while ago, this is what happened. You know, just Riot dropped the ball. Things started spiraling out of control. Positive reinforcement has been getting out of the way. It was vanishing from the game, and we've been getting too much negative reinforcement. It's always who gets punished. It's always who gets banned. It's always death timers. It's always surrender timers. It's always how can we enforce what we want. This is not how you create fun experience. Anyway, I don't know how long the video is by this point, but I'm done talking. I'm not going to ask anybody to like or subscribe or follow or anything because I'm not a content creator. However, I will do ask if you can share the video with someone who can make a difference, either a content creator or someone at Riot, I would really appreciate it. And do give me feedback, by the way. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think that my interpretation of the situation is correct, accurate? Maybe it's correct, but inaccurate. Also, do you guys want more videos? However, if you want me to make more videos, you know, give me something to work with. Because I believe that the biggest issue that I've been suffering from is the positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement one. Um, I'm open to communicate. Well, that's it for now, and hopefully this is a start of new constructive channel of communication. And yeah, we will see, and I guess I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care and bye. Did it stop? Okay, it didn't stop.